Dr. McGrath, can you see that all right?
Sure can.
All right, cool. It means it's working. All right, we're gonna get started. So, hello everyone, thanks for coming. This is our second meeting of this semester. We're also doing elections today. We're still waiting on a couple of people, but they're slow. So they'll get here in a little bit. So today's agenda. So tonight we're gonna go over some announcements and upcoming events, kind of just what's coming up in the future. We're gonna talk about the stock market game a little bit. Then we're gonna do kind of the beginning of elections. And then if we have some time at the end, I want to talk about kind of what's happening in Europe from an economic perspective. And then at the end, we will have our trivia. So announcements and upcoming events. So today is elections. Yay. So the way this is going to work, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when we actually start the elections, but the vote is going to take place via Google Forms, and the poll is going to close on this Sunday at midnight. So that will give you some time to go in there and place your votes. There's some people that are eligible to vote but aren't here today, and so this will give them a chance to do that. Yes. Next upcoming event. So our research presentation night, I put out an email about this last week. Originally, we had said Wednesday, March 9th. We're pushing it back a day to Thursday, March 10th. It's going to be from 7 to 8, hours 1:30. And we're trying to get it catered, so there's going to be food and drinks. And it's going to be open to, we're going to put out an announcement on the Student Life email. It's going to be open to everyone. There's going to be 3 presentations. I'll be giving one. Frida and Wendy and her group will be giving one. And then Joel is one of Dr. Mitra's research assistants. He works with me. And so he'll also be giving a presentation. All 3 of these presentations were going to the MBA conference on March 23rd through 25th. So this is supposed to be practice for that. Speaking of the MBA conference, so I've talked about it a couple of times this semester so far, and I've sent out a couple emails about it. Tonight, I'd like to get kind of a final head count of who wants to go to that beyond the people who are presenting. If you do want to go, or if you think you might want to go, there's a permission slip that I need everyone to fill out because I have to turn it into Student Life this week, so that they don't yell at me, pretty much. So I brought a couple, I brought 4 forms with me. Is anyone interested? All right. Yeah, you live with me, so we can. I'm gonna give you 2 because April wanted. Also, did you? Yeah. So, oh, you want us? That's the week of spring break. It's the week right after. Yeah. So it's the 23rd to the 25th. The way this works is that we're not staying overnight in downtown Chicago. The days you wanted to go, eventually they'll release a schedule. The days you wanted to go, we would figure out a way for you to get there, and then you would come. So we'd take the train there and back, and that's the way it would work. So I also I attached the form to the email I sent out earlier. So if you change your mind, you can still fill it out. This probably needs to be done by the end of the week. So email me and we can figure out a time to meet up and you can drop them off. Sound good? And then our next general meeting is currently scheduled for March 29th. So that's the week after. So we'll see. I don't have any more information on that yet. And then we're trying to get some guest speakers, but it's not going well so far. So when I figure that out, I will let you guys know. Any questions on these? Cool. Stock market game discussion. So we put this out maybe last meeting. So we're doing it a little bit differently than the way we did it last semester. We're going to also award prizes to the people who generate the highest return in a quarter. And coincidentally, the first quarter ended today. So whoever's in first place right now, I think it's Aniri, is going to get a prize for that. And then the way it will work is for the next quarter, we take everyone's starting position right now and we calculate them that way. So there'll be a spreadsheet and I'll share the spreadsheet with you all to see how everything's calculated. But this way, even if you're in last, you still could win something if you have a good quarter. This is the damage as of right now. Hey y'all. Yeah.
I still don't understand how those last right now, right? For example, we'll be able to win, to be the first at the first place next quarter.
Sure.
You just have to win few times like the same thing.
Okay, so where are you? Oh,
Thanks for calling.
yeah. Okay, so you calculate your percent change, right? You take your final minus beginning divided by your beginning, right? So this is your new beginning of this quarter. Yeah, I already took the screenshot. So they'll go into a spreadsheet and then whatever your ending value is at the end of the next quarter, I calculate the percent returns.
Highest percentage change?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily the highest dollar amount. It's between this date and next quarter and the quarters.
So Aniri wins the first one because everyone started at 100.
Wait, are you guys resetting every quarter?
No, I'll explain it to you at the end. Okay. So Aniri's winning right now because everyone started at 100, but for the next quarter, everyone starts at whatever they have right now. Does that make sense? So yeah, the markets have been kind of rough. What with the war in Europe and the Fed raising interest rates, and we still have supply chain issues. I feel like every time we start one of these games, something goes wrong somewhere. Elijah, what happened, man?
Since a couple bad plays. You know what you believe in the goodwill of man, and then you know you get a taste and you remember. You know.
Yeah.
Remember that.
I feel that.
To make the game more interesting, right?
But yeah, I got burned really bad since
Yeah. So this is how it's looking right now, and
Okay, maybe stop scrolling all the way down.
this is Farida's. Look at that.
Right away.
Look at that drop.
Go to her portfolio. Let's see.
I took an L, I sold my, tips, shorts.
You were shorting things?
I shorted so many things and then, the market went up.
Oh.
And I took an L and I covered them and they're all going down again.
1,200 fires.
Okay, maybe start.
All right. Anyway. So yeah, the next meeting will be around the end of the next quarter. So that'll work out. Hi, Dr. Mitra. I'm now he's muted. Okay. We're just going to jump right into elections. So these elections are for the officers for next year's club. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the requirements. So the members running for positions must be active members, and all of the people who filled out the form are. So that's good news. I didn't have to tell anyone that they weren't eligible. Active membership, for those that forgot, we define that as attendance at 2 meetings and 1 event per semester. We're still kind of midway through this semester, so but we're also looking at last semester. And then only active members are permitted to vote. So if you just showed up today, we're glad to have you, but we'd like you to come up a couple more times before you start voting. I just wanted to quickly go through the officer positions. So there's the president, that's me. I kind of run the club and run the meetings and delegate to my officers. I don't do that very well. I deal with student life, so that's a whole chore. I work with Dr. Mitra and we figure out events and budgets and stuff. That's the president, and there's the vice president. Right now that's Jake, and he's kind of my lackey, and I tell him what to do and he does it. So he kind of steps in for the president when the president is indisposed of, or when he needs help. He or she needs help. They also do the constitution reviews and basically anything else that I ask them to do. So the secretary is responsible for recording and distributing minutes from each meeting. We record these, so secretary also sometimes helps with uploading stuff to our YouTube channel, and they also maintain our Google Drive, and they take attendance, and then my favorite line, assumes any other duties as specified by the president. The treasurer, they maintain the club's budget and they create and file SSF requests, and they account for our purchases and keep track of receipts. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that Student Life makes us do to make sure that we can use our money. And so they help manage all that. And then our marketing director creates and distributes promotional materials and advertises club events. Right now, that's currently Farida. She does a great job. She also maintains the club social media accounts and helps with recruiting and assumes any other duties as specified by the president. So that is our 5 officer positions. They are all up for election today. And so the way I thought we would do this is, if you're running for a position, we'll go, I think Gabrielle's got somewhere to be soon. Okay.
I will.
Do you want to? We'll start with You can go first. We'll do vice president first. So just a short little speech about yourself. I said in the email who you are, what your prior involvement with the club is, why you're running for the position, what you envision for Econ Club. Convince us why we should vote for you. Yes, Dr. Mitra.
Is it possible to have them come in front of the camera and do the speech?
Yes, we'll do that. And turn your volume up. All right, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Oh, and say what you're running from too.
Okay. Am I on the camera? Okay. Oh, am I on the camera?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, hello, my name's Gabrielle. I'm running for vice president and I'm an accounting and finance major. I started coming to the club meetings last semester and I'm running for this position because I enjoy economics and I'm a good leader and team player. And I hope to help keep the club active and contribute my knowledge of economics.
Okay, and then so the next one is president. So whichever one you want.
Can you stop sharing the screen?
Hello, everyone. My name is Parker Manning. I started coming to the club last semester. I would have came longer, but I'm a transfer. So, and I'm running for president / vice president of this club because I want to go to grad school for economics, and that would certainly help me. And I want to share my natural leadership skills with you guys. What can I bring to the club? A number of things. Firstly, a passion for economics. I love it. I have several books at my house. I listen to audiobooks, and it's my favorite thing ever, except maybe philosophy, but there's no money to be made in philosophy, so I'm going to study economics. Secondly, I'm already a tutor in economics. I tutor macro and micro to college students and AP stats, so I can bring that to you guys. The books I've written they're philosophy, so they're not economics, but that just shows my grit and my ability to take something and explain it in words, which would be really important. Overall, I think I'm the best person for a president / vice president role for these reasons and many others. So God bless, guys.
Hi, everyone. As you know, some of you may know, my name is Jake Durkis. This is my second year involved with the Economics Club, and I am currently running as president. While involved with the Economics Club, as you probably know, me and Tyler initially introduced me to the club, and he got me jump-started immediately into a research project. You may have heard of the IBBM model. We presented a Days of Discovery, and I just want to take a brief moment to say thank you to Tyler and getting me a jump start into the yes. But that's a small example of things that can happen here at the Economics Club. Students who maybe don't know their first step into getting involved with research. So who am I? Besides I used to be the treasurer here at the Economics Club, currently serve as vice president of the Economics Club. I served a term as the senator for the College of Technology for the Student Government Association, and then I served a couple months as the vice president of that student government. So I have a lot of experience dealing with student life. I know all the ins and outs of the paperwork, the sorts of things that they're interested in when it comes to funding. In terms of my envisionment for the club, I think we're doing a phenomenal job right now. There's a lot of very popular initiatives we have going on right now, such as the stock market game, the movie nights many of you have been to. And so far, our general meetings have been excellent. You know, we have very amazing presenters, whether it be faculty members or students who come on their own initiative. And so I hope to continue that. In the following years, I hope to continue more diversity of our guest speakers, whether that be additional faculty members or just outside research resources such as professional members in the community. You know, that's really been a struggle right now because of COVID-19 and the limitations based on that. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to work with all of you next year and really excited to see what we can do in next year. So thank you all for your time and thanks.
And then, so for, let's see, what positions do we have left? April, who couldn't be with us tonight. She has Women in Business. She's running for secretary. And then Angel Martinez, he's also running, he's running as treasurer. So they're also on the ballot. They couldn't be here to speak tonight, but they're also running. So when you go and vote, you'll see their names on there too. Does anyone have any, oh wait, hold on. So this QR code takes you to the ballot. I'm gonna only leave this up for a little bit. The link, Dr. Mitra, did you raise your hand again?
Yeah, how many in-person attendees do you have?
Right now we have 9 people, including myself.
Thank you.
Almost 10.
No, who's here? No. So this, I'm gonna send the link to go vote out to all the people who are eligible to vote. That'll be after this meeting. So, and then when do the polls close?
11:59.
Yes. All right. What time? Now we're doing good. Does anyone have any questions about the election? All right.
So
Oh,
marketing position is open, right? The marketing is very crucial because it all depends on how many students we can retain and how many students get on board, participating in one club. What's the future of marketing director?
yes. So some of the people who registered to run also, they were allowed to put multiple positions. So I think April has also put marketing director as something she'd be interested in. There's 5 people interested in positions, and there's 5 officer positions. So I think that everyone should have a position when this is all said and done. Hopefully. But yes. Any other questions?
Yes. You said for the secretary, Angel Martinez also ran, but I don't see him on the ballot.
No. Angels for treasurer.
Oh,
You're one of the candidates, can you vote for yourself?
Yes. Yeah, that unless you're writing yourself in. All right, any other questions? All right, we're gonna keep going. So the last part of this presentation, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some current events I don't know if you guys have been following the news, but there is a war currently happening in Ukraine. So there's a lot of political commentary and military commentary and all that good stuff surrounding the event. What I wanted to talk about today was just a little bit of economic commentary about what's going on right now. I have been pretty much glued to the news for the past week, looking at everything that's happening. And so if you guys are unfamiliar, Russia has invaded Ukraine, pretty much just because it was kind of it wasn't provoked or anything. President Vladimir Putin kind of wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. So, yep. And so in response to that, so there's a whole bunch of complex geopolitical, relationships to explain between the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the fall of the Soviet Union. But I just really wanted to talk today about kind of the response that the West has given towards what's going on there. And so really what this is about is economic sanctions. And so economic sanctions are a policy tool that governments and international organizations sometimes use to attempt to alter the choices of outside parties when they don't do what they think they should be doing. So they're defined as the withdrawal of customary trade and financial relations for foreign and security policy reasons. So sanctions can be broad. So think of something like the US embargo of Cuba, which I think there was something about President Obama lifting that, but I don't know. I think it might be back now. I don't know if anyone knows anything about that.
Yeah,
Or-
we looked it for a couple months, but then Trump put it back.
Oh, okay, Trump put it back. Okay, so, and then there's also sanctions that kind of target specific groups or specific individuals. This is just a picture of the Ukrainian president, President Zelensky, calling for the world to sanction Russia. So far the sanctions against Russia, the economic sanctions against Russia, have included disconnection from SWIFT. They are barred from importing key technology. We call these export controls. They've been restricted access to Western capital markets. There's been travel restrictions, so planes aren't really flying in or out of Russia anymore. And then there's also been sharp reductions in the purchase of Russian oil and natural gas. Germany has halted the construction of Nord Stream 2, which is a natural gas pipeline that flows from Russia into Germany. That was a pretty big project for them, so this is a big deal. There's been some foreign asset freezes and seizures. So international banks have either seized money that belongs to Russia or Russian people, or frozen their accounts. And then there's also been some personal sanctions on Vladimir Putin himself and other Russian high-level officials. And the sanctions have really come from just about everyone at this point: the US, the EU, the United Kingdom, Japan, and Australia. So what are the potential impacts of these sanctions? So in Russia, the sanctions the sanctions and even just the threat of the sanctions have already crashed the ruble. That's the Russian currency. So we can see this graph here. is the exchange rate between the ruble and the United States dollar. And it kind of falls off a cliff right here. Currently, Dogecoin is more valuable than the Russian ruble. Robux is more valuable than the Russian ruble. Robux is the currency in Roblox, which is so yeah, that's not great news for the Russian people, especially. They've also caused the Russian central bank to raise its rates from 9.5%, almost doubled or over doubled to 20%. Someone else. And then they've also caused the Russian stock market to drop. So I think the number I saw was that it dropped 30%, and then they decided to stop trading. So yeah, the financial system in Russia is not doing too hot right now. Some other things that the sanctions might also lead to is high inflation. So kind of everyone's already experiencing some high inflation right now. This could push Russian inflation even higher, lower growth, lower living standards, and then a reduced economic and military capability over time due to export controls, because the Western world, and especially the United States, makes a lot of computers and chips and high-end systems that Russia eventually incorporates into their equipment and technology. So if they can't get the access to those things anymore, they're kind of stuck at whatever technological level they are. Yes, Fareed.
I know it's reading right now, but now that you've said about equipment like computers, electronic equipment being starting to get banned.
Yes.
Most of the equipment, electronics, are produced in China. So is the ban on supply from China of those electronics, or is the ban on selling to Russia those electronic equipment from manufacturers?
Yeah, so the sanctions would be from the country that's sanctioning. So China hasn't particularly cared about the invasion. And so Russia could still trade with China if China was still willing to do it. And you're right about lots of the technology coming from China, but some of the highest end stuff, the US tech outperforms Chinese tech. So that's something that would happen more in a longer perspective as time goes on. If these sanctions stay in place over a long period of time, you might see. What?
They're going to technologically plateau.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, these are some of the potential impacts of the economic sanctions in Russia. But this will also probably hurt areas outside of Russia, namely increased energy prices. So Russia actually supplies the European Union with over 1/3 of its power production. So I mentioned the Nord Stream 2, a natural gas pipeline, that's been canceled. Germany was pretty reluctant to do that, but because that would have been such a benefit for their economy. There's already high inflation in the US, there's high inflation in Europe. And so this will probably increase it even more, especially in our energy markets. I mentioned a little while ago that Russia was removed from SWIFT. SWIFT is the Society of Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. That's what SWIFT stands for. So this is basically the system that allows banks in different countries to talk to each other. And so by being removed from this, it kind of cuts Russia off from the international financial system. It disallows their banks to operate globally, and then it either greatly reduces or completely blocks Russian exports and imports because they're not able to pay other countries for their goods. And so when you cut a country off like this, there's probably it's going to cause currency volatility. We already see it in the ruble, but it could also kind of ripple through other currencies. Delinquencies on Russian debt. So if Russia has debt from other countries and they can't pay their debt, then that affects other countries as well, and just overall shocks to the international financial markets. So all this, but do sanctions actually work? And so I did a little digging on this and found an economist at the World Trade Organization. And they claim not really, because the problem is the sanctions hurt the issuer and the target. So as I was saying, Russia is going through all these problems with their financial system, but Europe is going to pay the price with higher energy costs, and there's going to be kind of some currency fluctuations probably among other currencies outside of Russia, and so Russia's feeling the pain, but other people will also feel the pain. Another problem with the sanctions is that the sanctioned countries become incentivized to develop third-party relationships. So in this case, it's probably going to be China. So by sanctioning Russia, we might be pushing Russia closer into a relationship with China. Now, sanctions are preferable to war, but historically, they haven't really done anything to prevent it. Sanctions are kind of the middle ground between diplomacy and war. So you can kind of take a harder stance on something than just talk about it with diplomats. And the idea is that it doesn't escalate to war. But if you look at sanctions in the past, that hasn't really been the case. War still happens despite sanctions occasionally. Now, one thing I will say is that the current sanctions are pretty severe. They came very quickly, and they came from a unified international community. So this might increase their effectiveness, but time will tell. Anyone have any questions or want to talk about this at all? I mean, I went through pretty fast. I talked about how they would impact gas prices in Europe. I'm not sure how they're going to impact gas prices here. I don't know. Do we buy Russian oil for us?
We do, but an interesting food for thought. We export more oil than we use. So I wonder if we're locked into some sort of trade agreement where, like, if push comes to shove, would we rather pay more for gas, or would we just stop trading the U.S. reserves of oil, just keep it for ourselves to keep prices low?
I know that Canada says they won't be buying any Russian oil anymore. But yeah, I know we produce a lot of our own oil, so. Well, yeah, it's because, well, no, OPEC is not officially a cartel, but it kind of seemed like it sometimes. Now, what I can see the oil companies doing is raising gas prices and blaming it on the situation in Russia.
Yeah, gonna raise political.
So it might not actually be a supply chain issue for them. It's just they're like capitalizing on a world event.
I know the Keystone pipeline that got canceled, but weren't they progressing on it? Is there a way to like kind of switch it on, or what? It was never finished being built?
It never finished being built.
But it's partially built, right?
I don't know, because it got canceled because of concerns, because it was crossing over Native American land, yeah?
Right, right. But they had part of the infrastructure built and then they got to settle land and then it's like the big thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
probably too big of a project to immediately switch on and switch off.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Now, in order to cope with unstable level Russian government have decided to purchase from home and to increase their gold reserves. Now, when Russian government starts to buy rubble, because some cash should, still fluctuate inside. What happens to inflation rate? How does this look on inside economy of Russia?
I don't know.
Who do you trade gold with?
So is the ruble a fiat currency? Does anyone know? No? If the ruble was pegged to gold, yeah, you know what? I don't even know. It is? It's gold backed or it's fiat?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I have no idea why they're buying gold. Yeah. So yeah, this is still pretty new. So some of this is ever evolving. I made this presentation last night. Some things have probably changed since then. Dr. Mitra, you raised a hand?
Yeah. First of another round of beer.
What was that?
So it's a very interesting, obviously topic. And today, in my Econ 251 class, one of the students brought up this issue. Now, you know that any economic implications have both short-term and long-term implications. Now, with respect to United States, and this is not just for you, but for all of you who are here today, you know that the crude oil price has gone up to $130. The natural gas price went up by 70%. And you are talking about the exchange rate, and the Russian ruble has gone up all the way up to 108. What do you think the United States can do in terms of having the minimum impact on our economy? That's my question.
Well, so I know we have like strategic reserves of oil, and so we could maybe tap into those. I don't know how big they are. And what I don't know is if these sanctions are going to stick. Are we just going to permanently make, Russia an international pariah and just not do business with them anymore? Or are the sanctions in place to get them to stop, and then once they stop, they'll go away? But I would say in the short term, at least, maybe start dipping into the strategic reserve to try to keep gas prices low, because voters care about gas prices. We're coming up on a midterm, and you don't want gas at $4 a gallon or even higher. I don't know. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. I think the United States will be doing exactly that. So obviously, after your PhD, you will join one of those economic think tanks, and I know that you'll be pretty good in terms of making policy recommendations. I'm not kidding. I'm very proud of you. You are exactly right. The United States will definitely take care of both the gasoline, the crude oil, as well as the natural gas in terms of their reserve. And that's the right thing to do. And I think that you mentioned about the sanctions. Obviously, the NATO, the other European countries have already imposed sanctions. The sanctions will be effective if they totally cut off Russia's main exporting countries. If the main exporting countries where Russia depend on, if those are totally cut off, if the financial sector is totally cut off, then it will be very effective. And whether it's going to be effective in the short run or the long run, one thing I can tell you that it will be very difficult for Russia to come back. It will be very difficult. That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, once you start invading other countries, people tend to not think of you so positively. So yeah, even if most of the sanctions get lifted after this is all said and done, there's still going to be some distrust in place. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. I think that for Russia to treat the neighbor just for this type of control of the natural resources is unthinkable, and only a dictator can do that. So I don't want to get into the politics, but I think the Russian president, I think, made a big mistake. He thought that he'll be able to control Ukraine within a few days, which he failed. If he could have done that within a few days, but he didn't expect this to linger for so long.
Yeah.
And he didn't expect that there will be so much of opposition or so much of support for from other countries.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's taking so long is definitely something that he has miscalculated.
Yes.
So, yeah. Good discussion. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for coming. So yeah, these are all the sources I used. And yeah, how are we doing on time? All right, so I have a very short Kahoot.
Terrible, thanks everyone.
Yep.
Thank you. Where's that?
Or is it?
On that, this one.
So yeah, this is a quick 10-question Kahoot. Thank you for coming. What panel? Oh. I got no idea. Who's Khrushchev? Is everyone in? Okay. Why? All right, when is the last day to vote for club officers? Good job, everyone. Yes, Sunday, March 6th at midnight. I'll be sending out lots of emails. All right, disconnection from Swift is what type of sanction? Yes, economic. So what countries have imposed sanctions on Russia so far? Yes. So yeah, damn near everyone. Belarus. Yeah, I think they invaded last night. So it's kind of a dick move, but you know. Yeah, the guy's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Isn't Belarus more or less a Russian puppet state, more or less?
Yeah, yeah, but Lukashenko's a nutcase. There's some promo pictures he took a while back, and it was like him shirtless in a helicopter with a whole bunch of guns. I was like, yeah, he's really something. All right, what sanctions have not been imposed against Russia? Yeah. So I don't know if there's a sanction that says that you can't trade nuclear missiles, but we definitely wouldn't be giving them to Russia right now. And there has been a sharp reduction in purchases of Russian oil and natural gas, canceled pipelines and whatnot. Okay, the Russian central bank has raised interest rates from 9.5% to what? Yes, 20%. So almost doubled. It was basically in one day too. I saw that. I was trying to think what would happen, like if the Fed tried to pull something like that. I was like, oh my goodness. True or false? According to Smeets in 2018, sanctions are highly effective. Yeah, no. That's false. True, false. It's like you read it.
Right, but I was like, I gotta be the fastest. So
Oh. Well, you probably were the fastest.
I'm gonna tell on the line.
Sanctions are a policy tool used to attempt to alter the choices of outside parties.
Now you're saying.
That one is true, yeah. Score Jake, 7 correct answers in a row. Sanctions against Russia will likely not lead to. Yeah, so high GDP is the inverse of low growth. So you couldn't have both of those. And yeah, I'm not thinking GDP in Russia is going to be too great for at least a little while. What is the Russian currency called? Who put rupee?
I wonder who.
That's from India, not Russia.
I thought it was the election was over.
All right, and true or false, sanctions have no effect on the country imposing the sanctions. Yeah, that's false. So sanctions are kind of, well, the way the guys described it in the economics paper, he said it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. So like you're making a statement, but you're also hurting yourself at the same time. So, all right.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations, Jake.
Got one in a row.
Yeah, there's a, well, not for you. No, it's only for first place. It's only for first place. Oh, was that a rule? Okay, congrats.
No, you don't get it. Shot zero.
Which one of you is it?
I'm in second place. Yeah, I mean. We'll do a switcheroo.
Okay, I will make it. Yeah. I'll just remember. I've got April and Gabrielle are first in line now, so you're gonna have to wait a little while.
For what? Wait, what? For what? Oh.
No, it's because they won last time, but I never paid them because student life. Yeah.
Give them a $5 tax card, you know.
Interest or inflation?
Last month, we gave them all out at the awards night, or we just giving them out as soon as possible, whatever.
Yeah, but I didn't really want to do that. I would rather.
Right, it's almost once a week.
Are there any updates on church at all? Or, I know last semester you were talking about Chicago or something like that.
Yeah, so we're going to the conference, but that's gonna be it because everywhere is still closed because of COVID. So we wanted to go to the Federal Reserve, and this Federal Reserve is apparently never opening their museum again or something.